Shalom. Shalom, Yasharala. Before this starts, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to Apostle of the Great Millstone, who rule well and teach well within this ministry, are the only ones 100% qualified to teach the 100% truth of the Bible. And sincere shalom to all the Akim out there pushing out this truth and sincerity. And a shalom to all the Akwas learning in silence. My name is Brian National Pasha. The title of this video is just going to be multiple wives. Because, the world gets pretty, not even just the world, but sometimes us in this ministry, sometimes a woman in this ministry or, anybody else in this world, they get tripped up over the multiple wives thing. And they just can't believe that the Lord would be about that. But if you really think about it, it just makes a lot of sense. More so than just even, obviously the scriptures are going to make sense, but there's a huge misconception about it because of Christianity, Christianity says, adultery is having another woman and whatnot, but really that's not even the case, because there's a whole lot of scriptures out there that define basically what we're supposed to be and how things are supposed to move within the way that we live just as a people, So basically just the way that we live is just going to be the natural way. In fact, when the prophets were writing these scriptures, they used what they had available back to them in that day. So that's why you don't hear modern words like America and ICBM missiles or anything. They say Egypt and Babylon, for America, and then they say arrows for the missiles. That's what they had back then, because they didn't, when the Lord gave visions about what was happening in the end time prophecy, they didn't know what everything was called. They just saw what they saw, and a missile looks like an arrow, so I'm gonna just say it was an arrow. There was a great fire, but they don't have the word for explosions. Just the earth was shaking to and fro because that explosion. Just how we are as a people, it's all coming from that. So first off, you have to really understand who we are as a people and the way that the Lord was dealing with us. If you go to Deuteronomy for chapter 7 verse 6, this is how the Lord describes us, the nation of Israel, all 12 tribes. This is what we are to him. Verse 6, for thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power hath chosen thee people to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. That's exactly what we're supposed to be. So we're supposed to be, when it comes to all the other nations, the top of the top. All right? There is no one above an Israelite man. So automatically that's let me get this real quick. I know I have it. Yeah, Psalms 82:6. No, I just pressed the wrong thing. It's okay. I see. Psalms 82, verse 6. And I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. That's talking about Israel. So understand from first hand, we are the top of the top. We're gods in the making. That's what we're practicing right now. Practicing all these the righteous and holy commandments of the Lord, practicing the righteous holidays and hearkening back to our heritage, learning the Paleo Hebrew, understanding the prophecies and the scriptures of the Bible, understanding what the commandments are, understanding where we can work and what's out of our control and whatnot, but just pushing out this ministry. This is what we're practicing, because in that end time, once Jacob's trouble is over and the Lord comes back, Lord willing, we get beamed up in those chariots. In that, what's going to be established is the righteous kingdom. which is going to be based on the law, statutes, and commandments of the Old Testament and the New Testament on top of each other. And it's going to rule righteously over the entire earth. And we're going to be the judges over everything. So when an Israelite man walks past, they're going to have greater fame than the most famous men that's walked the planet now. The average Hebrew Israelite is going to be more famous than Michael Jackson. The average. All right? So that's where you got to understand what we're coming into just based on the scripture here. So with that, you got to think about how things are going to be working when it comes to this whole multiple wives thing, you know? If we're going to be at that level, kings, gods, we're going to have servants. And you do the etymology of, hold on. Where is it? Etymology. Woman. This AI overview is doing everything it can to not make it properly make sense, you know? Because they just go to the old English. We're not going to that. It's right here. Etymon line. Woman. Adult female human. Middle English woman from Old English, right? But even older than that, an alteration of an earlier with men, plural, woman, female servant. That's what the definition of woman really means, is a female servant. So you think gods, the judges over the entire earth, are just going to have one servant? That doesn't even make any sense, you know? And not only that, when it comes to bringing back our entire bloodline, you know, you can't just do that with one woman. Think about it. If you have one woman, you can only have one child with that woman per year. You know, the elder Apostle Gabar, he went into this video not too long ago. And in this video, he was saying that if a woman gave birth to a boy, you can't touch that woman after she has that boy for 40 days. You can't. All right? You got to treat it like it's a period, but for 40 days instead of just 7 days. Now, if she has a girl, it's 80 days. So you really can't be doing nothing with that. So with that whole 80 days, what's that? Like 2 months, basically? More, like a little over 2 months? So that 9 months plus the 2 months. Okay, so that's basically the whole year. You can only have one child per year with that. That doesn't even make any sense. You can't multiply with that. That's just addition at that point. The multiplication status, the reason why a man can, you know, plant his seed damn near every day is the whole point of multiplying. You can, you know, let one off in a woman one day, every single day, and have 365 children on, you know, this calendar. But, you know, when we go back to the other calendar, it's going to be different. But we can do that. And that's really how it's supposed to be. As many wives as an Israelite man really wants. And you know what? Let's go ahead. Because this Isaiah 60, Isaiah 60 and 21. This prophecy cannot exist, as the Apostle Elder Gabar brought out. This prophecy cannot exist with just one woman. It just can't. It don't make no sense. That woman gonna be tired. She's not even supposed to be ranting like that, you know? For lack of a better term. But verse 21, that people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. Verse 22, this is the point here. A little one, or one Israelite man, shall become 1,000. Now, granted, we're going to be immortal in that time, but there's still a process of multiplication that comes in, you know? Like I said, you could literally let off one woman in one day, every single day, you know, except for the Sabbath, obviously. And you could multiply your numbers quick. Be having kids like left and right, like it's nothing. But a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, Yahweh, hasten it in his time. And that's the whole point, you know? So a lot of people get caught up on, oh, no, it's supposed to be one. That was the... But what about adultery? Well, one of the wisest men in the earth had multiple wives. Slakia. Did I just get... I think I did. One of the wisest men of the entire earth had multiple wives. 1 Kings 11, verse 3. Actually, we can start at verse 1. But King Solomon, this is King Solomon. Now, the second wisest man to walk the earth. Obviously, the first wisest being Yahushua, you know? That's the Most High's son, you know? You can't... There's nothing you've done in your life that Yahushua hasn't taken on a heavier version of. So King Solomon, he's the runner-up in that regard to his wisdom. But he was recognized as the most wisest that ever walked the earth until Yahushua walked around. And ever since then, nobody's ever upped either of them, all right? So King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Edomites, the Zidonites, and the Hittites. Of the nations concerning which Yahweh said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come unto you, for they will surely turn away your heart after the gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. And basically what that scripture is saying is all these heathen nations, all these Moabites, the Chinese, the Ammonites, I believe that's the Japanese, the Edomites, the white people, the Zidonites, I forget Zidonites and Hittites, or maybe a brother could leave a comment helping me out in there, or if not, I'll probably just reach out to them and see if they can help me out there. But those are not the tribes of Israel. They're not. Okay? So with that, the Lord is saying these other, being the fact that we were still under the curses, and that King Solomon had a thing for foreign women. That's what it means by strange women. They were foreign. They were they weren't women of Israel. So they were, man, the word just slipped my mind. It's like, yeah, I don't know if there's the Lord puts it back in my head. But these were heathen. These were the heathen nations. But yeah, they were the heathen nations that he was. That's why he said that he liked strange women. They were heathens. So these heathen women, he's saying, don't go ahead and grab them and whatnot, because they're gonna turn your heart away from me. They're gonna pull you into serving their gods, you know, and that's what unfortunately happened. Just being that, you know, us still being under the curses, he was still privy to sin. Although he had all that wisdom, you know, we still fell short. So, but the verse 3 is the point. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines. And his wives turned away his heart. Now, notice in this scripture, verse 3, there was nothing wrong with him having 700 wives or princesses and 300 concubines. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. The issue was the fact that they were going to turn away his heart. So it doesn't have anything to do with, oh, he had too many women and what. No, they were just heathen nations. So he was surrounded by people who were completely against what he stood for. And eventually, imperfect man, that's going to make any man fall. Even the wisest man that was there, you know, at the time. But that's the thing. That wasn't an offense to have multiple women, you know? That's our heritage. That's how we're supposed to be able to move, you know? Even that's where this Genesis 1:28. Yeah. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and the fowl of the air and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Now that be fruitful and multiply, again, that goes into that point where you can't just multiply with one woman, because that one woman will not be able to be touched after a certain amount of time after they give birth. And during that birthing process, you can't be doing that. You can't be You can't be trying to pop your woman that's pregnant. She's off limits that whole time. Then when she gives birth, it's not just, oh, give her like a day or two. No, it's you got to give her like 40 days just if it's a man. And if it's a woman that she gives birth to, it's 80 days. So you really got to not touch her for a minute. So in that time, a king or a god or a judge over the entire earth is supposed to have multiple servants, because then that one's out of commission, basically, for that one single Israelite man. So then you got to pivot to the others. And that's just what makes sense. Call it all Bashim Yahushua. It's 11:44. I just seen that. But my point is that, well, the scriptures are clearly making a case for what this world doesn't want to admit or even let happen. And it's going to be a rude awakening in the end times, because that's what Isaiah 4:1 goes into. Let me go into that. About 7 women, and 7 it just means a complete number. Yeah. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel, and let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. And that just means what's coming up in Jacob's trouble, Because in that time, there's going to be men that are going to have to go into war, men that are going to be sent off to prison, men that are going to be killed just by the civil wars that are going to be happening in that time, or, basically like a purge status that's going to be happening amidst a World War III, amidst a civil war. So our numbers are already low, so they're going to drop off even lower. And even right now, if you look at the population status, let me see. How many women to men are on the earth? Globally, there is slightly more. Since when was that? That's an AI overview. Of the 806 billion people, forbidden. I don't know if I could trust that, because for the longest, it's been more women over men. For the longest. Let's see. Global population 2003. Reject optional ones. I don't know about that. No, I don't know about that, because for the longest times, I haven't done too much research on that, so I don't know about this area. But I know, I remember seeing the, oh wait. Come on. Yeah, and then they outnumber men in America. It's like, not in the world. There's more men in the world, obviously. But in America, it's different. That's where I got it mixed up. Salakia. 51%. So that little extra 1%, I mean, that 1% does go a decent amount of distance, But in that time, those numbers are going to be, and not only that, how many black men live in the United States? 20 million black men. So let's say that number, right? 20 million black men. How many black men are in jail in the U.S.? $1,800 per 100,000. Okay, what the hell? 1 in 55. That's in 2021. Okay. So 1 in 55 to 20 million. Let's see. 1 in 55 to 20 million. That means for every 55 people, one is a part of the group. You would divide the total population, 20 million, by the denominator of the probability, 55. So out of 20 million people, 363, almost, let's round up and just say 400,000. Out of 20 million people, 400,000 are already in jail. You know? And then when you do, how many black men die in America? Let's see. Between 1990 and 2020, 1.63 million of black Americans, but 900,000, damn near a million, in black males. So let's say that a million with that 400,000. So that's 1.4 if we're rounding up, you know, in both cases. That's 1.4 million out of that 20 million. You know? So in that case, in that time of Jacob's trouble, it's going to be worse than ever before. So imagine, these are the small numbers that we're getting right now. When it comes to Jacob's trouble, it's going to be like a time never before seen on the earth. So it's going to get perpetually worse. And that's why Isaiah 4:1 says that 7 women, just a complete number really, shall take hold of one man. Because in that time, there's going to be a lot less men to be able to take care of them. They're going to be shipped off to wars, killed in prison, or just taken to prison, or just killed in the streets, or killed by their own fellow man, or their enemy. You know, there's gonna be far too much taken away from the men that are gonna be here to be able to do anything to protect anyone, except for the elect that's gonna be here, because they're gonna be protected by the Lord no matter what. So with that, the Lord having that hedge of protection on the elect, those men that are gonna have those 7, so-called 7. It's just a complete number of women that are gonna call into them. So it could be more than 7. You know, like just multiple numbers. They're gonna look for strong men, not just any man. You know, some fucking twink. Excuse my language. That's just gonna be walking around, some skinny ass nobody that can't do nothing or whatnot, that no austere type of man, not a man of the Lord, that they're definitely not going to go behind some toothpick that's going to try to be all like, yeah, I got you. No, that ain't going to happen. It's going to be with strong men of the Lord. And that's the only way that they're going to cleave onto them. And the whole point of, we'll eat our own bread or wear our own apparel, they're going to stop with this stupid stuff, this feminism shit that, I'm my own boss, I'm a woman boss and whatnot, girl power, all that dumb shit. They gonna throw all of that away and be like, hey, I can make my own food, I can make my own clothes and whatnot, I can shut the hell up, I can give out, you know, I'm a mama, I do whatever you say, just please protect me. All that shit's gonna go out the window in Jacob's trouble. They're gonna come back to their senses, because Esau's the one that's over here in their ear trying to take down the whole back in the 1950s, they called it a nuclear family, which was the man at the head of the household, the woman staying at home taking care of the kids and making sure that man's house was right by the time he got home. And when he got home, she kept it right and she did whatever the man needed, you know. And Esau went ahead and attacked that and separated that and came through with the feminist movement that made women feel empowered so that they can go ahead and do what they wanted to do, just so that they can get taxed, so that they can go in the workforce and tax both incomes inside the house. So now, congratulations, your whole women rights shit is now you got to get taxed, earn less, be discriminated, and just put in a worse situation now. And even though you think, oh, we got all these places and whatnot, didn't Donald Trump just get rid of all those DEI placeholders and whatnot? He got rid of all that. And all those women got laid off of their jobs. It's like it. But the point is that like all that feminism shit is going out the fucking window. You know? It's like it. And that even goes into scripture. Isaiah, it's like it. No, go back. Isaiah 32. Yeah. Isaiah 32:9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. And that at ease is talking about the women that don't got to do shit. Think about it. In today's day and age, women could literally just upload pictures of their feet and be earning $200,000 a year. Just doing that alone. Because there's simp ass niggas out there that'll just earn all that money just to throw it at a woman because they can't do nothing. They're not real men. They've been dragged all the way down. They want a woman on top of them, and it's just out of order. It's disgusting. And that's what is gassing up all these females' minds. That's why the dating pool is so mad stupid, you know? If you ever watch those 20v1 videos, when either if it's a man that's looking at 20 women or if it's a woman looking at 20 men, it's stupid all around because the woman always has some dumb shit to say. Sometimes there's a I say decent, but really, you know, they just two third-ass niggas out there. But even if you get a man that's like not doing too much, there's women out there that are constantly way out of order, way out of their, I'd say, jurisdiction, you know, just pushing the envelope, like constantly trying to show up whatever man is there. And that's the problem, you know? And that's what the scripture's going into. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. These women are at ease because they know they got Uncle Sam in their back pocket to take care of them. That's their real baby daddy that they really care about. That's the one that gives them all that, the FAFSA, the SNAPs, the all that government assistance and whatnot. That's why women initiate, 80% of the divorce rates? Because they just stay with the man that earns a lot of money, divorce him, take half his shit, and then they ain't got to do nothing. They didn't set up none of that business. They didn't work on any of that. The man usually creates all the business every single time. And that woman just stays around just trying to get her pension in, basically. And then goes ahead, initiates the divorce, boom. Doesn't matter. She could have been a billionaire with that man. She'll settle for being a 500 millionaire by herself. No sense. No sense whatsoever, you know? But that's what it's talking about with the scripture. You rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear to my speech. Many days and years y'all shall be troubled, ye careless women, for the ventures shall fail, and the gathering shall not come. You know? What other point could it possibly go to? All these OnlyFans girls and these women that just, buy me this, buy me that, pay for my rent, you know, with the stupid mindsets, you know, just this generation that's coming up, that it's messed up. They just have the dumbest mentality. They have no sense about themselves. They just want to fulfill their flesh and have absolutely no, they have no discipline whatsoever. They have no understanding of anything. They're the most entitled, problematic, useless, generation in society at this point. Because you look at it, they have nothing to offer. Everything that they want to do is is stupidity. Oh, let me just post naked pictures of myself. Boom, that's $100,000 that year. Okay, now there's pictures of my feet. Boom, that's another $120,000 a year. I remember I seen a post on the internet of somebody deciding they were trying to figure out what to do in life. and they could draw, and they loved science pertaining to the human body. And they were trying to figure out if they should go into being a doctor or a furry artist, because they make around the same amount of money. If you draw animal porn, you make the same amount as a doctor that's supposedly in Esau's world, supposedly supposed to save your life. But of course, a doctor is just someone that's just gonna prescribe you things and just keep you on medication instead of actually heal you. But still, even that, $200,000 a year as a doctor in most positions. You can earn that by drawing anthropomorphized animals trying to get it on. Because some freak out there wants that. There's a bunch of them out there. And that's the point. Like, they have nothing to offer. It's all just stupid stuff. And that's what they care about. They don't have anything that actually needs to come out and actually benefit this world. They don't have their roles are so misguided and whatnot, but they love it because they don't have to do anything of actual value in order to earn anything. That's why they're so careless out here. That's what the scripture is speaking about. All these women, they just want to go ahead and some women go to Dubai to get shit on. It's disgust and ugh. They're not even prostitutes. They just get shit on. Literal shit on. Fecal matter rubbed all over themselves in a different country, and billionaires over there will just be like, yeah, here's 40K. Ugh. Human toilet paper. Ugh. This world is through, man. It's through. We don't even want those types of women, Good Lord. The Lord's got something special planned for them. Because that's, ugh. Anyway, back to the point. You can't have... And the thing about... a huge misconception about it is that... how are you supposed to take care of all these women and whatnot? How are you going to differentiate time and whatnot? Well, first off, for the woman, that's not even something that you need to be even concerned with. However the man chooses to deal with you is however he chooses to deal with you. The only thing is that he cannot neglect you if he chooses to make you his wife. If you're a concubine, it's whatever. But it's all about how you go about it. As an Israelite woman, you can't really make them a concubine. They really just got to be wives. They could be a lesser wife, but they still need to be shown love and respect and whatnot, obviously. But if other heathen nations or whatnot, yeah, they're just going to be concubines for the most part. And the scripture to back that up is, let me see, Exodus 21, verse 10. Yeah, if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall not diminish. So if he goes ahead and if that man chooses to go ahead and have another wife, that means her food, he got to feed her. He got to make sure that she's taken care of, that she's eating properly and whatnot. Her raiment, actually, let's go ahead. Exodus 21:10. Put it in the NLT to make it even more sense. If a man who has married a slave wife takes another wife for himself, he must not neglect the rights of his first wife to food, clothing, and sexual intimacy. Now, maybe not every Israelite man currently right now, on that last part can match, but in that kingdom, we definitely, But, some men on the earth right now, they have that. They can do that. They can bear it, and it's no issue whatsoever. And, that to each their own. But the bottom line basis is that you're supposed to take care of all of them, not neglect any of them, So when it comes to having multiple wives, you're not supposed to just, I don't want this one, I just want this one, and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, that's off. You got to take care of all of them and actually love them, You can have favorites. I mean, the Lord has a favorite flower. It's the lily. But that doesn't mean that he neglects all the other plant life out there, And it's the same way. You can have a favorite wife, but that doesn't mean that you neglect the others. And you know that you can have a high regard for one, and that's perfectly fine. That doesn't mean that you need to toss away all the other ones, because at that point, going under the curses now, that's putting away a woman, And if you put away a woman in a wrong way, that woman, you could be responsible for that woman if she goes off and commits adultery, At least here under the curses. That's why if you put away a woman and you for the wrong reason, like she just didn't feel like making you food that day, and you're like, man, get the hell out of here and whatnot, and she goes off and does something with another man, the Lord's gonna look at you and be like, that was a stupid ass reason to put her out, bro. That's a stupid ass reason. And that's on you at that point. Now, if she goes out and commits adultery on her own, that's different. Or if she just doesn't want to listen to anything in this truth, depending on how you want to judge that spirit, if she does everything else for you and just doesn't want to be in the truth, I mean, that's one thing. But if she's actively showing up at camp, causing a problem or whatnot, or being completely out of order, yeah, you can put her out, and that judgment won't come upon you. But when it comes to actually being taking care of your woman and whatnot, you have to still do these things. You can't just do it the way that you want to do. But going into let me see. I had a couple more scriptures that I wanted to bring out. For that woman that just wants to keep going off and just doing stupid stuff, causing them a problem. Okay, well, he's got multiple wives and whatnot, but he treats me like this. How am I wrong for saying, putting him in his place? Well, first off, a woman is not supposed to put a man in his place regardless. The man knows his place. And if a woman has a problem with anything that he's doing, she needs to find out the proper way to properly come up to that man and to talk to him and express how they feel about something and wish that something could be worked out. That is the proper way for a woman to express anything to their man. They're not supposed to come up like, you got me fucked up. No. Hell no. And for that is 1 Timothy, right here, 1 Timothy 2:12. But I've suffered not a woman to teach, nor usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. And that goes over making every last one of these feminist women that think that they can do it all on their own. Oh, I got it. I'm like that. I'm not listening to no man, or all that dumb shit that they be pushing out in the world. You're not supposed to do that. You're going off. And when it comes time to Jacob's trouble, you're going to get a handful of fuckery because you decided that you wanted to be the man. And that's another thing, that you can't have two rulers in the same house. All right? The Lord doesn't mess with that. The Lord set things up a specific way. All right? Hold on. I had that one. What is it? Is it 1 Corinthians 11:3? Yeah. 1 Corinthians 11:3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach. All right? And that's who the world ignorantly calls Christ. All right? If you look at Alexander the Pope, back in the day, his son, Cesare Borgia, he had what's his name? I forgot his name off the top of my head. He's one of those painters, those famous painters. He's got the same name as the Ninja Turtles. Leonardo da Vinci. He had his son, Cesare Borgia, as so-called Jesus Christ. But really, in the Hebrew tongue, his name is Yahushua. That's who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. And in Paleo Hebrew, his name is Yahushua Hamashiach, which the world puts as Jesus Christ. But it's Yahushua. That's his name. Okay? So that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of the woman is the man. And the head of Hamashiach is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Okay? So it's just Yahweh. Salakia. And that's the name of the Most High, the one who the world ignorantly calls God, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh, Salakia. Yahweh is the Most High, and his son is Yahweh Shai. Okay? And that's the hierarchy, all right? So in the kingdom, it's going to be Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, then the 144,000, the elect, then the Israelite man, then the woman, and, so forth. But that's the hierarchy of how this works. So it's not going to be, the woman and the man are equal terms. It's not like that at all. It's never been like that. It's only started to be like that the past 40 years because of this feminist movement that happened, And because of that, there's a whole misconception about, this is how it's supposed to work. No. Back in the day, a woman knew her place because we were very strict on the law. Very strict on the law. If a woman came up and trying to be like, no, I'm that bitch, I'm not one that does all this and whatnot. No, she got stoned to death. She stepped out of line, and we were strict with the law. Anybody who transgressed over it got put to death. That girl's smiling at another man. She wants to go ahead and talking to that man when she's got a husband alone and whatnot. You got caught. You got stoned to death because y'all were trying to do something that you knew you weren't supposed to do. God forbid you actually went ahead and did the deed of sleeping with another man and whatnot. Both of y'all got put to death. There's no playing with that shit. And that's what's going to be restored in the kingdom. And Lord willing, that it happens sooner than later because we're sick and tired of this place, man. The average Jake or son of Jacob, the 12 tribes, that's who we dearly call the 12 tribes of Israel, Jake, because it's the son of Jacob. All right? Jacob and Esau, that's the two main characters of this whole thing for anybody that's new coming into this and whatnot. Jacob was the one to receive the blessing of inheriting the whole earth. And then Esau was the one that he threw away his birthright. The first crash out, all right? He's the one that got blessed with the sword. That's why he all he knows is destruction and to persecution. But Jacob, or the 12 tribes of Israel, that's why for lack of better words, we just vibe well with the earth. We vibe well with everybody. Everywhere we really go, we are the life of the party. Everywhere. It doesn't matter. We are that it people and whatnot. But my point is, my point is, when it comes to this hierarchy, all these feminist women that want to go ahead and push themselves above what the Lord has going on, that's going off. And during Jacob's trouble, they're going to receive judgment for that. And it's going to be a rude awakening. A rude awakening is coming for those who think that they can rise, for those women that think that they can rise above a man. Any man. In fact, that's what the point of Isaiah 4:1 is. Slakia, not Isaiah 4:1. That's 2 Timothy 2:12. Yeah, 2 Timothy 2:12. Or 1 Timothy, Slakia. Yeah, but I suffer not a woman to teach, nor usurp authority over the man. Let's look at the definition of usurp. Usurp definition. To take a position of power or importance illegally by force. And you know what that means? Women who try to use their kids against their man. In the kingdom, by the way, that's flipped. If a man decides he doesn't want that woman because she's going off or whatnot, and they have kids together, she doesn't get shit. She don't get the house. She don't get the so-called car. She don't get the kids. She don't get nothing. She's out on her own completely. And that's righteous. All right? This world does everything backwards. This world is given into the hands of the wicked one. The so-called white man is the devil. All right? He does everything backwards from the Lord because he thinks he's better than the Lord. You look at everything that he's done through history. Upon all the curses that were supposed to befall us, he wanted to double down even further. All right? We were supposed to be put in slavery and subjection to our servants and whatnot. And they were our servants. But they took it way too far with buck breaking us and eating us and putting our hair inside of the clothing and whatnot, chopping off our rods and hanging them above the fireplace inside of their homes, lynching us with thousands of Edomites out here just watching us in their own pleasure and whatnot. All that's going majorly off, and they got to pay for that, you know? It's like it. But that Esau Edom is the one that's putting everything out of order. And that's why we have this huge confusion about all this shit, because he's in power. He's the one that's been given the earth, and look at what he's done to it. Scriptures talk about those who, when a wicked man is in power, the earth mourns, roughly paraphrasing. But when a righteous person is in power, the earth yearns for a righteous person in power. And that's not Esau Edom. Esau Edom is the wicked one. So look at everything. Everything is dying. He's polluting the whole earth. He's changing all the laws and making everything completely backwards. Y'all think this is all great. The world that he wants everybody to live in is a fake world. He's trying to make everything digital. Nothing is real. You don't actually have any tangibility to everything. But the way that we had things beforehand was really, everything was real. The food that you ate was real food. Esau Edom put GMO food in everything. There's nothing of value here whatsoever. You can eat an apple and have less nutrients than what an apple, 400 years would have given you. And that's the whole point. They pollute everything they touch. Everything. But when it comes to like how they move things within society, they think they're better than the Most High, so their law is going against everything of what's happening now. Oh, you can only have one wife. And if you guys get divorced, then she needs to get half of what you own as a man and whatnot, because she's used to that lifestyle and you need to validate her feelings. Man, fuck her feelings, bro. That shit don't mean nothing. In the kingdom, they're going to get nothing if they won't even have the ability to fuck up, because we'll be perfect in that time. But even back then, when we were imperfect and still holding up the law, when we were still in charge back then, she got kicked the fuck out and got nothing for it. And that was righteous, because it was not meant for her to have in the first place. It was a benefit for her to even be with the Israelite man. The man is the prize. The woman is just the incubator and the helpmeet. They're not supposed to be on a high level at all. They're just a helper to the man. That's the whole point. But yeah, this whole world is just backwards. It's just real backwards. And that's what this scripture is saying. Like, not only is a woman not supposed to teach, but she doesn't have the understanding to really teach. She's not given discernment, nor to usurp authority over the man. She's not supposed to be in that power. And what even, hold on, it's like here. Unjust balance. I know what's in here. Wait. Abomination. Boom. Proverbs 11:1. A false balance is an abomination to Yahweh, but a just weight is delight. So think about it. If you got two rulers in the house, the man who we've just established is supposed to be the head of the wife. Why the hell would a woman have the same power as the man? It doesn't make any sense. That's a false balance, which is an abomination to Yahweh. So it's not going to run like that, All this, that whole feminism stuff, those careless women that are just moving however they want to move, that shit is coming to an end. Thank Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, because it's out of order. It's always some dumb shit that they're thinking of. You can watch all these videos of all these women talking about what they want a high value man to be. Most of that high value man shit in this world that we live in now. First off, we living in captivity. The average household income for the so-called black man in America is $22,000. What does the so-called black woman constantly be saying she want? You gotta be 6'4", whatever. You gotta be big and muscly, tatted. You gotta have dreadlocks. You gotta make $200,000 to $500,000 a year, and I better get $200,000 for myself and whatnot. Like dumb shit. First off, the whole tattoo thing, you're not supposed to make any markings on your body like that. Second off, dreadlocks, men aren't supposed to have long hair. That's just not a thing, all right? There's a difference between having those plaits that can be braided and actual so-called dreadlocks. That's not even our culture. That's a Indian culture. If you look it up, it's called Shiva Jatas. That's their gods, and that came into our own culture somehow, and we started doing that because our hair could handle it. But that is a Indian tradition, all right? Red dot, not native Indian, you know? It's like for lack of better terms. But that's not even our culture, and that's what is being brought onto us. But that's going off. All of that's going off. The tattoos, the locks and whatnot. The fact that the woman is like, you better do this for me. No, fuck you. What are you doing for the man? The man is the prize, not you. For most of these women, if you ask them, oh man, I really wish I saved that video. I seen a video a while back about this comedian that was talking about women. What would you do if you lost your box in a terrible accident? Let's just say hypothetically, you lost your box. What would you do for your man to make sure that he doesn't leave you? And the first thing that damn near all of them said was give him head. They didn't even think, no, let me just be a honest, humble woman. Let me go ahead and do it. The only thing that they were thinking about was sex. That's the only thing that they think to bring to the table, because they really don't have anything else. But really, they're supposed to be focused on taking care of the man, making sure that his needs are met, when not just sexually, but also just making sure that he's happy, that his mind is clear, that he trusts you, that he knows that his house is set in order, that you are listening to him, hearkening on to his counsel, that you are carrying out his tasks, that you're listening. That's really what a man will value in a woman. A woman that does that, scriptures say, a wicked woman is given unto a wicked man. So if you got a woman that's doing shit behind your back, cheating on you, fucking on other niggas and whatnot, you doing something to have the Lord bring that to you. And it's not, oh, you have a multiple woman. You could be fucking a woman that you know has another man. That's adultery. You're getting that judgment because you're out here committing adultery. So yeah, the Lord's gonna send you a woman that's got, whoredom in her mind and a fucked up mentality to try to bring you down at any convenience whatsoever. That's what you're bringing onto yourself when you're sitting out here doing all these vile acts that the Lord has clearly told us not to do. But when you go ahead and go against the will of the Lord, you're going to pay for that within judgment. And you have multiple chances to hearken to the Lord and repent and try to do better. But because you don't, you're not getting anything from the Lord except judgment. And that's because that's the only way that you'll actually feel what you need to feel, to come to the Lord in a contrite spirit. That's the only time when you really be like, damn, Lord, please help me. And then as soon as you get a little bit up, you completely forget the Lord, like it's some renter's insurance. You're only using it when you need it. And really, you need to be using it all the time because you need him all the time, especially today. as time is getting worse, I mean, Jake doesn't want to listen. He just want to keep doing the same dumb shit that he's always been doing and whatnot. And this Israelite, the so-called black woman, the nigga woman, it was always on some dumb shit. Always. But that's why the brothers at GMS are always saying, always expect your woman to disappoint you some way, somehow. Because we're still under the curses. That's just the reality of it. There is going to be something. No matter how hard you try. Because think about it. In this hierarchy where it's supposed to be Yahushua over the man, the Yahushua is looking at us, the men, who are likened unto a woman to the Lord. We're always disappointing him. So why the hell would you not disappoint us if we're above you the same way that the Lord is above us? He's thinking the same thing. And woman doesn't have discernment, but the man does. But guess what? Yahushua has a higher understanding than the men do. The scriptures talk about that. Ye that don't understand the worldly things, why would you understand the heavenly things? Salakia. Roughly paraphrasing. But my point is that whole hierarchy of how that thought process works is based on the ability for there to be a proper rulership over everything. The women are not meant to rule. That's why their emotions are constantly dictating their thoughts. A woman's mind is considered a snare in the scriptures. All right? She can't go without making a stupid decision. She just can't. It's impossible. Her mind is literally guided on dumb things. Even the most so-called wisest women of the Israelite women, they're going to be emotional first, even if they're logically focused. They're still going to think about their feelings rather than the logistics of a situation. And they still get pissed off when you bring that up. Like, oh, logic is something above emotion. Oh, you think that makes you better? Yes. That's the Lord said that. You got a problem with the Lord saying it? Well, fuck you. Because the Lord said it. We're listening to 100% of what the Lord's saying. We're not picking and choosing what anything else the Lord has said that it doesn't matter. We hearken onto his counsel. It doesn't matter how we feel about it. What he says is what we need to change about ourselves. So if he says something that cuts us, damn, all right, that's something for me to work on. What do we look like fighting against what Yahweh Shem Yahushai had to say, But anyway, now I'm getting off topic. When you become passionate about this thing, you can really just talk about it over and over and over again. But in these days, the woman just has too much going for her because of what Esau is doing. Esau's got the Israelite woman in his back pocket. She gets to do whatever. She don't got to work. She ain't got to do nothing. As long as she got a kid by you, she can go to the government and be all like, hey, I got this kid. Give me some food stamps. Give me some government assistance. I'm out here. I'm out here looking for apartments, right? Now I got one. All through his ability to give this to me. But we came across a place that is from government assisted living. And for $1,000, you could have 1,000 square feet for 2 bedrooms. That doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen. But you can't make a certain amount of money. And me by myself, I make too much for that, but too little for, anything really nice. Well, Yahweh Shem Yahushai actually got me something, but that's a different story. But the point is that this world wants you to have nothing. It wants you to depend on them. They have 4-bedroom houses over there for like $1,400. But you have to be on government assistance. You can't make a certain. It's like for one person, you can't make more than $40K a year. You just can't. You have to be on government assistance. So the government is going to help you with getting a spot. It's going to be spacious and whatnot. It's going to be run like crap. But on top of that, you gonna have it's like my throat is getting dry. But on top of that, you gonna have other bills outside of that, so you have to struggle somewhere. So you can't just have that nice spacious area and whatnot. No, you're not allowed to make certain money. So when you go to struggle with those bills, oh snap, you got other stuff that you got to worry about. But lo and behold, that women out there, they can go ahead and have a thing on the side or whatnot and not even touch anything that's coming to their main stuff. And that's how they get to get ahead, on their taxes and whatnot. For first off, getting child support. Well, I don't even have that situation, so I don't even know how that works on taxes. But they get a benefit of having money coming in that they're not doing anything, that somebody else has to bring them, that they were supposed to be loyal to and consistent with. But they broke that to get Esau's blessing, basically, so that they can go ahead and do less to get more. And then they can use their income and whatever they go to do or whatnot, still have main ownership over that said child, which again is off. And yeah, but this world is just backwards, and we just really waiting on the Lord, because this whole multiple wives thing, there's a whole purpose for it, and making sure that it's running its proper course to really just to rise up our numbers. The scriptures talk about the Lord has many mansions for his sons. It's not just going to be earth. Eventually we're going to have earth be populated to what it needs to be. And there's a reason why there's a whole bunch of other planets out there, because the Lord is saving those for us. That's why we can't go out to them right now, But that would be a lesson for another time, or maybe not, I don't know. But whatever the Spirit puts on me. But I hope that was edifying, Just trying to bring out some understanding. I didn't even think I was going to be going on this long. But, that's the Spirit. Once the Spirit's on you, it's going to jump on you. And Thwadi Abashir Ashai for having that Spirit jump on me to make this video. Just want to give all praise to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai Bahashim Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. And a sincere shalom to all the Akim out there pushing this truth in sincerity. And shalom to all the Akwath listening out there in silence. My name is Bayanash Napasha. Lord willing, I see you upon them chariots. Shalom, Yasharallah.